This lesson is meant as a review of how to find the area and the circumference of circles. So just a couple quick things about circles. The distance from the center of a circle to the outside is called the radius. The distance all the way across the circle going through the center is called the diameter. And remember that the diameter is just equal to 2 times the radius. So if the distance halfway across is the radius, double that and you'll have the distance all the way across, which is the diameter. Likewise, you can say that the radius is just half of the diameter, or the diameter divided by 2. To find the area of a circle, you multiply pi times radius to the second power. So it would be radius times radius. And this is commonly called pi r squared. So pi times the radius times the radius. The circumference, which is the distance around the circle, is calculated by doing pi times the diameter. So let's look at a couple examples real quick. In this first example, they gave us the distance from the center to the outside, or the distance halfway across the circle. So what they gave us was the radius. So to find the diameter, we can just simply double that. So the diameter is just 2 times the radius, so that would be 6 feet. The area is pi times the radius squared, which means, and we're going to use 3.14 for pi. Actually, let me, I'm going to first write the answer in terms of pi. So pi, and then radius times radius, so that would be 3 times 3. And so the answer in terms of pi, it would be 9 pi. And this question is commonly asked for you to solve it just in terms of pi. And so you would just leave your answer like this. Now, if they told you to go ahead and multiply it out using 3.14 for pi, then you would just take the 9 and multiply it times 3.14. Multiply that real quick. 9 times 3.14, and I get 28 and 26 hundredths. 28.26. And for area, the units are always squared units. So that's feet squared. So then for the circumference is pi times diameter. So if I was going to write that in terms of pi, I would just write the diameter is 6, so just write 6 times pi. If they asked me to go ahead and find out what that is with 3.14 for pi, I would just multiply 6 times 3.14 and get 18 and 84 hundredths. And the units for circumference are feet. So again, that's the distance around the circle. The units for area are always squared units. All right, so let's do the same thing with this one here. They gave us the diameter this time. So the radius is just the diameter divided by 2, so that would be 5. The area is pi times radius to the second power, so that's pi times 5 times 5. So the area in terms of pi would be 25 pi. Now, if they ask you to go ahead and multiply that out, we just multiply 25 times 3.14, and we get 78 and 5/10. And again, the units here are inches squared. The diameter up here, let me go ahead and add the units. That should have been inches. This should have been inches. Now for the circumference, we have pi times the diameter. So in terms of pi, that would be 10 times pi. And if we go ahead and multiply that out, we would get 31.4, and that's inches. All right, one last thing I want to show you. If the circumference equals 8 pi, then what is the area of the circle? So first of all, remember the circumference equals pi times the diameter. So if we look at this, the 8 represents the diameter. So the diameter of this circle is 8. That means that the radius is the diameter divided by 2, which equals 4. And now to find the area is pi times radius squared. So that would be pi times 4 times 4. In terms of pi, the answer would be 16 pi. And if we multiply that out, 16 times 3.14, we get that the area is 50.24. And they didn't give us any units here, so 50.24. All right, so I hope that was helpful to you. If so, give it a like and a subscribe. And until next time.